It's not my fault if you made a plane that can't fly.
I told you not to touch it!
Hello, my fellow video game fans. This is ultimately going to be a short list, but I do have more lists in mind that I've been thinking about for 5 or 4 years, possibly even more. No joke. Anyways, I'm a busy guy, but I can make time. Anyways, after E3, there's been a lot of video games that I've been looking forward to now, in 2020, and maybe even earlier. There's also a possibility of delays for some of the games, but let's hope that doesn't happen. So let's count down. 2 more things to note. This is all my personal opinion. So there are some games you might be looking forward to, but not really me. But if you are, that's great. Anyways, let's count down the top 5 games I look forward to playing. Let's go! One question that nearly everyone has asked. Are we alone in the universe? Is there intelligent life out there? Well, if aliens ever do come to visit Earth, let's hope it's not this guy.
It's probing time.
That's right! Crypto is back after 10 years. 10 years, damn, I feel old. And ready to destroy all humans! Anyways, it's a remake of the first game, with HD graphics and some extra side missions. For those of you who don't know what Destroy All Humans is, let me explain, foolish Earthlings. It's a series of action games that allow you to play as an alien, Crypto, who needs human DNA to help his species out. So you blow people up with your UFO and on foot with tons of crazy weapons. Not to mention the game is pretty funny and pays homage to 50s alien invasion films. You know, the black and white ones. The second one seems to have the best weapons and such, although the first one has a charm that the second one couldn't replicate. The reason it's kind of low on this list is because, well, it's the same game just with HD graphics. And not to mention, the original aged pretty well in my opinion. Do you know what was a fun game? Medieval. A charming video game series made up of Medieval 1, an adventure platform with a spooky feel that's great to play around Halloween, Medieval 2, a pretty enjoyable follow-up with some new style to it, and Medieval Resurrection, which is an okay remake of the first game, though it doesn't beat the original by a long shot. Anyways, guess what? They're making an HD remaster of the original. Heck, sign me up. It's been a while since I've seen Sir Daniel. What's great about this is that, unlike the PSP remake, this looks to keep the charm and atmosphere of the original, and not make it too goofy, and thankfully there seems to be no of that annoying genie guy. Ugh. It's the same game, but in HD graphics, and hopefully better controls. Look, I love the original one, but the tank controls did get kind of frustrating at times, especially in the swamp level. Like the Spyro and Crash Bandicoot trilogy remaster, there's a possibility that they'll redesign some of the things and add more interesting stuff to the cutscenes like they did with those games, which did a pretty good job in my opinion. Which is a welcome change, but I hope they don't change too much. But by the looks of it, this will be a faithful remaster with awesome HD graphics like they did with Spyro and Crash, while also keeping everything that made it great in the first place. The only problem I have with it is that they didn't bring along the second one for the HD remaster as well. I mean, Spyro and Crash had 3 games put into one, and this one only has 1 put into one, when there's a perfectly good second one that could be remastered as well. Maybe the success of this one could remaster the second one as well if it is successful, which would be good. Also, it's finally good to have my favorite Skeleton Knight rise from the grave again. Are you ready, kids? For a really awesome game based off a really awesome cartoon? SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom was a great game. It really captured the spirit of the show, the graphics still look pretty good to this day, and above all, it's a solid platforming experience. Just let me put it this way, I'm planning on making a top 10 best video games based off a cartoon, and let me just say, it's pretty high up there. I thought a remake would never happen. At most, I thought they would just put the original up for download on the PSN and such, but it's getting a full HD remaster, now with even more. That's the reason it's higher up than the other remasters on the list, because it has cut content from the original game put back in, including the robot Squidward boss, and possibly Patrick's ice cream dream that was planned to be in the original, but got cut due to time constraints. Also, it's nice that THQ is paying respect to Steven Hillenburg, unlike Nickelodeon itself. Anyways, it's about time we got another great SpongeBob game. Victory Screech! Woo! Okay, enough with the remasters. Let's get on with games built from the ground up. At number 2 is Luigi's Mansion 3. Now, I frickin' loved the original Luigi's Mansion, and the second one was pretty good, but the first one was still better and amazing. I like how unique it felt. Like, the entire game takes place in one mansion, but it still feels like a pretty big adventure, and I like how lively they made said place. Not bad for a place populated by dead people. But without a doubt, the best part of the game was the portrait ghosts. All of them were unique and creative. Trust me, if you play the game, you know what a portrait ghost is. Luigi's Mansion 2 for the 3DS, while a pretty good game, had some disappointing aspects. Like, all the bosses were the same possessor spirits, and there was no real portrait ghosts. It also lacked the atmosphere of the first game, for the most part. But in the third installment, not only does it seem to have the similar atmosphere, but we're also getting some new portrait ghosts. Hallelujah! They listened to our criticism. I also like how this one takes place in a hotel, which could potentially make the game a lot bigger, and adds more creative potential with all the ghosts you could encounter within this haunted hotel. Not to mention, going up all the floors and stuff seems pretty cool. I also like how Luigi has the Polterpup as a pet now. It's like having a real dog, without the crap and piss. Also, Gooigi seems pretty cool, if not weird. Before we get to number 1, here are a few honorable mentions. Ancestors, The Humankind Odyssey. This looks like it could possibly be really amazing, or really boring. I like the idea of playing as a tribe of prehistoric apes, and eventually evolving into us, humans, kind of like a spore on Earth. But it could also possibly be really slow. Not as slow as real evolution, but still. Maneater. This looks like a fun game, fast-paced and intense, and I like sharks. Too bad it's only for download on some website, but we can hope that it comes to consoles. Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not really into FPS, first-person shooters for the most part, but this game could be cool. Besides, I just had to put it as an honorable mention, otherwise people would want to kill me. Anyways, on to number 1. Psychonauts 2, the long-awaited sequel to one of the best, most unique platformers out there. Psychonauts is one of my favorite games of all time. Everything about it, from the art style to the original and creative stories, to the memorable characters, and of course, the awesome gameplay. Exploring the psychic worlds in people's minds was truly awesome. And it seems like we're getting more of that in the new game, exploring new psychic worlds and new people's minds. It's gonna be great. I really like how we learn about characters through their psychic worlds. It was something unique, something that hadn't been done in other video games. Gonna learn more about Raz and the gang. Not to mention there will likely be some new powers, which will be pretty cool. God damn it! I thought it would never happen. 2020 is gonna be a great year for video games. My long-awaited sequel, my number 1. Like I said, 2020 is gonna be a great year for video games. Can't say the same about the movies though, unfortunately. Anyways, that was my short top 5 list. I hope you enjoyed. What are you most looking forward to this year when it comes to video games? Let me know. This is Jake, signing out.